Birds Day. yes, it's Happy Birds Day for me. And hello to all you wonderful, unique beings. It is Tuesday, November 21st. For those that are watching on YouTube, it's probably confusing as hell, but it's November 20th for y'all. And we're here to talk sports. Sam, I'm not doing it with Sam anymore because Sam just sucks at it. But we'll be here to do this every Tuesday.
I suck at talking about sports.
Showing love to all of you watching us on YouTube. We appreciate y'all. What's up? Thank you for coming in. We have a fairly decent rundown. We will be doing our dubs, our L's. We have some more to talk about Brandon Staley. By we, I mean me. I have a ton to talk about that idiot. Power rankings, nothing much has really changed. Just a foreshadow. We'll talk about our picks, what we've done record-wise, and Sam will be talking baseball, and I'm just going to sit back and watch him. And with that, we also have, is that from last week that we talked about Harbaugh? I don't really care to talk about Michigan anymore. It is what it is with them. But anyway, what was that, sir?
Peace out. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good on that too. But now to introduce the most dominated tag team from the East, the brains of the group, the number cruncher, the advisor, Mr. Dry Paint. Sam, what's up?
Mr. Dry Paint?
I'm giving you a nickname every week. Yep.
What the hell does that mean? What? Okay. Hey. Everyone's like, why is Brandon always so mean to you? And I'm like, I don't know. I think he thinks the animosity is creates something.
I bring things out of Sam. Yes, I do. And I love it.
Why does your co-host hate you? I get that question a lot. I do.
If they only knew how much Sam actually hates me, because he never replies to my text messages. He never says anything to me. I send him 20,000 things. 20,000 things. That's not.
So this is what happens. Mm-hmm. So the Jets bench Zach Wilson. Okay. Actually, I found that out before the Bleacher Report notification even came out.
Not before Twitter.
I guess one of my friends sent in a group chat, so I saw it, and then get Bleacher Report, and I've talked about this for like 3 freaking years now. Then 30 seconds later, I get a text message from Brandon, and maybe I responded to this one, but it's like, dude, I saw it. Like, I kudos for
Sam just never responds to me.
I just don't respond. I'm working. I'm doing other things.
Sam to watch football with me. Sam has never come to do that yet. I've asked Sam to watch UFC with me. Sam has yet to do that. So if your friends that are listening to and wonder why I have animosity, question your friend who doesn't even want to see his actual friend here. No, I'm telling them to question you. Yeah, tell them to question you because apparently you leave your friend that has the animosity towards you high and dry. Anyway, how are you doing, Sam?
Other than that, this is Lincoln. How was the show? Oh, man. Yeah, here we are. Hey, happy Monday Night Football. Big game. Yes. A lot of confidence. It's interesting you called it Bird Day. I wonder what. Good luck to you. I hope it's a good game. Super Bowl rematch. It's going to be a lot.
I hate that term. I really hate that term. By the way,
well, it's fact. It's a Super Bowl rematch.
It's not a Super Bowl rematch because they're not playing in a Super Bowl. Like I hate it, Sam. I know.
Matchup semantics. I know,
but I just hate it. It's not for the Super Bowl. It's different.
How you feeling today? How you feeling? You ready?
I feel confident. I feel confident, but the stress will begin very, very soon. So hence the fact that Cerveza has been cracked already. And
here we go.
We're just here. So we're just going to take it as we go.
Man, you should invite me to come over or something.
I would, but you don't know how to get here. So apparently,
Actually, I haven't been to your new place yet.
I know you haven't, and I've invited you several times. Thanks, Sam. Great.
Well, we've gotten drinks together. We've gone to sporting events together.
We went to one sporting event together, Sam. Stop lying to the people. We haven't got drinks together either, you lying piece of...
We totally have. It was like years ago.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
Anyway,
so I pray your friends say something to you after they hear this, and then they're like, okay, I get Brandon now. I get it. Sam breaks my heart. It's not my fault.
Wow.
Not my fault.
Well, this guy is Brandon. He's here, so he just doesn't get fined. I am. Dude, Thanksgiving's the best.
Looking forward to it.
I know last year we did the food draft. I was thinking about today, like, just give me all the sides. I don't need turkey at all, man. Turkey's great.
Turkey's overrated.
Yeah, it's overrated though. Like my family, my wife's family, bang up job on Thanksgiving. The food's always delicious, but you know what? I could do without turkey. Just load up the sides. Let's go. But yeah, what about you?
I like turkey outside of Thanksgiving. I just feel like every turkey that I've had, no offense to any of the cooks, because I appreciate the effort and time that you put into it. Yeah. But every Thanksgiving turkey that I've had, there's only been like, I can probably count on maybe one hand, like the juiciness of a turkey. Like I always feel like it doesn't do anything for me. It literally does nothing for me. But to your point, all the sides do everything for me. I'll take all the sides, run with it, go from there. But I'll pass on a turkey, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. For those that are deep frying turkeys, stop, because you're gonna keep burning shit down, and you need to stop. You need to be careful. Please stop. Just please stop. Like I feel like you need to call the fire department before you do it, because some of you people don't understand how science works and how these things actually.
Dude, one of my best friends actually texted me this weekend. He goes, "I got an idea," and he sent me a link to like a turkey fryer thing. Like, I was
I hope you said that's a bad idea. I hope you said that.
I don't even know where that combo went, but I was just like, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I've had it, done right, and it's delicious. And I would not mind eating it, but it's just don't set your house on fire, guys. Come on, no. Please don't. You got football games to watch. Like, there's family. Don't just do what you can.
Be smart. Also, if you have been experimenting on dishes, Thanksgiving is not the time to be bringing the experimental dishes to the table. Do not do that. It's not the time to do it. If you don't know what you're doing,
blah blah blah. Yeah, don't try today.
No. My question, see, if you have, like, let's just say, I had a family gathering, family and friends, which I would invite Sam and he wouldn't come. But if I invited like a bunch of people, I would ask what they are bringing. And then my next question next to it is, or there'd be a line under it and be like, how many years have you been cooking this? Is the question, right? And if it's under a year, or you just say it has been a year, you're out of there. You're gone. You're gone. Wow. You're gone. You got to go. If you're not consistently making it in a year,
you need reps in the kitchen for that dish. Okay,
Sam, it's like saying that somebody says they're gonna spot you, or they're like, hey, listen, I need you to spot me. I'm about to lift 900 pounds. And it's like, have you ever lifted this before? And it's like, in my mind, right? Like it's not gonna work out well. It's not gonna work out well. Let's just put it that way.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you want the reps in there. And it sounds like you just have a really high standard for
when it comes to food,
holiday cuisine. Yeah.
So when it comes to food, listen. When you have a girlfriend that cooks for a living, when you have a mother that throws down, you come from a family that absolutely throws down. I know this for sure. So
I know this very, very well.
So it's
where did I used to be friends, guys? We used to actually be friends. Like we used to hang out. He knows my family.
I do.
Very well.
Whatever.
Anyway,
but when you want to talk actually have somebody like that, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll get to sports in a second. We got
game
time.
Changer,
we got time. But yeah, you got to make sure when you come from a background that has good food, that makes good food all the time, you're a little bit judgmental about food. You may not be outright with it, but mentally, you definitely are like, okay.
In my brain, it's like, yeah, this isn't good.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't disrespect you, though. I won't.
My sister's husband, phenomenal cook. My wife's sister's husband, phenomenal cook.
There you go.
And just two Italian mothers too between the It's good. Yeah, we don't miss a meal. We're well fed. Yeah,
you won absolutely. Sure. So now let's get into some sports. This is episode 116 of the Chasing Points podcast. I really dislike him. I really dislike him. So you watched Sunday. I don't know how many games you watched or what games you watched, but did you get a chance to watch anything? Anything pop out to you before we get to
I had Red Zone on.
Okay.
We're paying attention to it most of the day, aside from dinner, hang out with the kids, but it was on. Yeah, and starting Thursday night off, rough game to watch if you're a sports fan, just in general, the big injuries. But I didn't watch too much of last night, though. I'll be honest with you.
Shout out to Farkas for writing in the chat.
Hey, Farkas,
a friend of ours. He said that we'll be talking about Michigan a lot in the next weeks. Don't worry about it. And he also said Sam's not lying, Hayes is lying, so he's taking your side, which is not a surprise because he never takes my side for anything. So he can kick all of the rocks.
Thanks, Farkas.
Yeah.
He's looking out.
That means nothing when it's coming from him at all. So let's just get right into dubs. First for me is DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson.
I love that you wrote it out for me in the notes here. Like I didn't know who he was.
I did, just in case, somebody forgot, like myself. It wasn't for you, Sam. Just seeing this young man's journey, having to step in a role, kind of sounds familiar, like to Sam's team, but this guy actually won a game.
I wouldn't mind him under center, and I'll tell you that.
But no, he didn't have the greatest of games, but again, you don't need to have the greatest of games to win. You need sometimes just to put yourself in a manageable position, which is what happened to Jared Goff and the Lions, which they were not in a favorable game for them, and they still were able to pull it out. But to see this young man and to see the emotion, I don't know if you watched any of that game or if you watched the end of it, but seeing his teammates embrace him on the sideline, give him love, basically tell this young man, like, listen, we know you've been through a lot. We know that we've supported you type thing, and we got you. Like this, let's just get better every week and just go from there. So I'm really, really curious to see how this is going to play out. But for the moment, super, super happy that this young man got his first win in the NFL. And if he can continue to be a serviceable quarterback, the Browns will still be in playoff contention. I mean, they're pretty much going to be there anyway with the defense. So I'm definitely going to watch that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess his start comes on the news that Deshaun Watson's done for the year. He had something with his shoulder. There was like a bone that was broken in his shoulder. We were talking about it last week. Like I've never heard of that before. And between that, I think he has a high ankle sprain too. So it sounded like they needed to get that procedure done right away. That this defense for the Browns, again, you held the Steelers in check, which is something that's not hard to do. I think they've been outgained.
Yeah.
In every game they've played this year, but still, DTR didn't light up the stat page. I think he only had like 160 yards. He threw a pick, and not much on the ground. But you saw it at UCLA when he was there, and he's a 5th round pick, but like he's a talented guy. People, the clubhouse, the locker room really seems to like him, and he's put in a tough spot here. I know there was a preseason game where the Jets were playing the Browns, and Aaron Rodgers knows DTR pretty well, and he was really excited to see him and was talking him up. I mean, you could tell he has the traits and he's a good kid, and like it's a big spot for him. But yeah, you just got to protect the football and play serviceable football. And when you have a defense like the Browns do, you're always in a game, always. So
that's well said. Who's your first dub?
Here's the thing too: the Browns only play 2 teams the rest of the way with a winning record, so they're 6-3-ish right now. They're right there. I mean, the Bengals lose Joe Burrow, which we'll get into, and the Steelers I don't think will be there at the end, but So there's a chance here for this Browns team to make some noise for sure.
Sam, remember that time you told me to keep Joe Burrow on my fantasy team?
Yeah, if I knew he was going to like his ankle or his,
I dropped CJ Stroud and kept Joe.
Well, you know, I think my initial thought was you got to drop Dak, and that would have been completely bad.
And I told you I was not doing that. I'm glad I didn't. Yeah.
Well, there you go. You have the Cowboys. Dak doesn't have a bye, or his bye's over, so you're good.
Dak's had 4 buys already this year, but we'll get into that another time.
It's really good. That's good. Okay. Speaking of buys, now my Jets team's coming up soon. No, let's talk about the Lions though. They were losing to the Bears. Justin Fields' return after being out for over a month. It was ugly really early for Jared Goff. 2 early picks, and then he ended up throwing another one. Tip balls. Not every interception is the same, but they all count the same, right? So that said, they scored the last 17 points of the game, found a way to win this game. Aiden Hutchinson, who should have been the first pick in the draft, I still don't know why he wasn't, but had a huge safety to seal the game there. This team's 8-2. Their offense is 6th in the league. They've scored 25 or more points 6 times. They have a pretty good team, and Goff looked great at the end of the game and recouped pretty well, because I think he had two really long drives to end the game, like over 70 yards, that both ended in a touchdown. So you want to see that. The Lions' schedule is not as tough as some other teams in the NFC to end the year. I mean, the Eagles are in the beginning of a very daunting stretch here, so there's some room here for this Lions team to make some noise seeding wise and see where it all kind of shakes out. But you have to win these games, and they did. They found, even though you could look at it like a trap game in the way the Bears aren't very good, the Lions are pretty good. But you got to find a way to get the W, and they did. And kudos to Dan Campbell and company there. It was just it was a fun game to watch. So yeah, that's my first dub right there is to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. Whatever. Broncos. They are on a 4-game win streak, Sam. Do you think we would have ever said that to be how they started out? Because I don't think I would have ever said that.
Dude, the Dolphins dropped 70 on them, and then the following week, didn't the Chiefs drop or was someone else dropped?
They beat. Well,
no, there was someone else. Someone else put someone else put a huge number on them too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the last to see where they are now. Yeah, kudos to everyone there. They end up beating the Vikings 21-10. 20.
Just think about this. We came on here. We talked about how Sean Payton destroyed Nathaniel Hackett, and the media talked about how out of line it was and whatnot. Now that we look at this and his comments, doesn't seem like he was far off, does it?
I don't think what Sean Payton said was what the context of what he said was wrong. I don't think
he said it.
I don't think you need to say it. I guess what he said, I agree with. The fact that he said it, I don't agree with, because there's there's not a need for that.
So I've always been torn with that, and I'll get back to my Broncos, reason why my Broncos pick, but I've been back and forth because I agree with what you say, but also at the same time I understand what he was trying to do on the opposite side, which was try to tell Russ and the rest of the team that was there last year, like, this is going to be different, and tell the fan base this is going to be different. It's not going to be what you saw. And then obviously out the gate, didn't look like whatever he said made any sense, but now the way that the defense is playing, Russ still doesn't look like old Russ, right? But he looks like he has been playing as a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Oh yeah.
So he's been doing his thing, and Cortland has been absolutely been his safety net. Jerry Jeudy out of nowhere now knows how to play football again, which has been great. there's not many defenses right now that are playing better than the Broncos defense. You got the Browns, and then who's the other defense? The Niners. Those are probably the two best defenses, the only two defenses that are playing better than their defense right now. And that is saying a lot because they keep themselves in the game with just that alone. Even if there's mistakes on the offense, and we know there's mistakes on both sides, but seeing what has happened, I feel like I'm seeing a different fire from Russ. Like I saw the kind of passion that he had after throwing that touchdown to Cortland and just being that. I think they really started to lock in after they no longer said Broncos country, let's ride, because I haven't heard that in a while. And I might have just jinxed it now, which is fine with me because I don't care about the Broncos. But since that kind of thing has faded away and it's been like more focused on team winning, this team looks really, really good, Sam. And it's the team that it's starting to look like the team that we thought they could have been last year.
Yeah.
Right. When preseason, when we were like, okay, they're going to be it's starting to look like what it could have been because you actually now have a coach that has that experience and is super creative. So I just wanted to give kudos to them on continuing to win and being the hottest team in football right now when it comes to streaks. So, yeah.
Dude, you mentioned it 4 in a row. The last 3 wins have been the Chiefs, Bills, and Vikings. Like, I mean, yeah, Kirk Cousins isn't there, but Josh Jacobs is playing good football. The Vikings are still like, they're coached well. They have a good scheme, and they can put up points on you. Those 4 games had 4 game-winning drives too. No, I'm sorry, 4 game-winning drives all year. So yeah, he's not the old Russ, and he's clearly playing better than last year, and that was the problem last year. Like Russ was not playing well, and there's. Sean Payton is a probably future Hall of Fame coach, and
not probably, definitely is.
Yeah, I don't know enough about like what coaches are in the Hall of Fame aside from like the legendary ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't contest that at all. But it takes some time to figure some things out, and he's brought what has worked well in his career to Denver, and they have good receivers, a good running game, and I mean Russ is protecting football and playing well, so that's what you need. They play the Browns this week, so which is interesting because we're just talking about these two teams. That'll be a interesting game in Cleveland for sure.
Regular season, Sean Payton, 155 wins, 93 losses. So 625 is that percentage for that one. Postseason season 9-8. So it's 529. And then career wise, he's 164 wins and 101 losses. And then he obviously has a Super Bowl that he had with the Saints. Did he win a Super Bowl on being on another roster? I think maybe.
I'm trying to remember like coordinator or as a backup, right? So
he's been with a lot of teams. He started off with my Eagles, then he went to the Giants, Cowboys.
As a quarterback, not as a coordinator.
Coordinator, yep.
Yeah,
and then Saints, and obviously where he's at. We know where he's at now.
Dude, to start the second half of a Super Bowl with an onside kick, like you want to talk about like,
he's got balls.
I mean, if that didn't work, yeah, it's kind of like the whole Marshawn throwing it in the Super Bowl. Like if that did work, we look at Pete Carroll totally different. But if that didn't work, I think that was a huge play, swing momentum in that. They were playing the Colts, and Peyton Manning and his, still had what was that, 2010? He was in his prime there, so it was
Well, I feel like that was paying respect to him and saying we know that if we keep going the pace that we're going, we needed something to get an advantage to get ahead of you, because if not, we know what's going to happen. It's the same with kind of like Tom Brady or whatnot. You had the Philly special against him. You got to have those trick plays ready to go because they've seen everything on tape. They have weeks to prepare for you. They watch things going all the way back to college for you. So you got to pull something out that they don't expect at all. But your next one is is the Jags.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time, and rightfully so, last week talking about the Jags coming off a bye and just getting the brakes beaten off of them by the Niners.
Stomping them. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Niners also came off a bye, and lost 3 in a row previously. But this looked like, I know they're playing the Titans. Titans still have, good defensive players. Jeffrey Simmons is just, arguably, if Aaron Donald wasn't in this league, you could say he's the best defensive tackle in football, or at least in that conversation, he's incredible. But you got to play, and they played well. Lawrence looked good, had a couple on the ground. He threw for a couple. Ridley had a big game, and this. I don't know what they did offensively. I don't know if Doug Peterson kind of I know he's not calling plays. I don't know if I don't know what happened, but we both respect that coach a lot. You would know better than most people, just being an Eagles fan. So I'm glad they kind of wrote the ship here in a way, and need to win these games because no one expected at the beginning of the year the Texans to be playing the way they're playing, and they had another great win this week too. So it was just nice to see them bounce back after as you mentioned, a brutal loss last week. So my last dub goes to the Jags there.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, Dougie P's my dude. I love Dougie P and what he does, and I will continue to root for him down there. And it was great for them to be able to bounce back, but we're gonna have to see again what the Jags do against contenders, right? It's kind of like my same sentiment. Like, I obviously made a joke before about the Cowboys and saying that they've had 4 bye weeks, but they have a winning record against. Their record is what it is because all the teams that they've won against are all under 500. If you go and look right now, all of their records are under 500 for all the teams that they won against. The teams that they've lost against are above 500. So it's when I see that, it's the numbers don't lie to me. And not to say that the Cowboys aren't a good team. It's clear they are a good team. But it's same for the Jags. Is they are a good team. It's just, can you beat those teams that are over 500 that are actually going to be around at the end, not the teams that you should beat, right? Let's see what happens when you get there. And I'm sure with Dougie P's experience of being around and being essentially a quarterback guru and having gone to the Super Bowl multiple times and actually winning one himself, I think he's enough for them. I mean, we know who used to be there, and we know he's night and day compared to that other gentleman. So let's get into L's.
Yeah, real quick, Jaguars rest of schedule here: Texans, Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Bucks, Panthers, Titans again. So
okay, so yeah,
a little bit of both here. You get Texans off the just cuff here. Texans, Browns, they're going to be tough ones. Ravens certainly going to be a tough matchup. Nothing
Bengals that they had too, right?
Yeah, Bengals in there in 2 weeks. Not the same matchup, but yeah. So you got to play
Bengals because that's your L. So
yeah, don't have much other than you lose. You're already out T. Higgins. Now you lose Joe Burrow for the rest of the year. Was it an ankle or a wrist sprain? Was there something else that
the flick of the wrist? I don't know if there's anything else, but there's.
But he clearly was. There were kind of reports that he walked off. I saw it. Something was on his wrist when he walked off the plane. Who NFL's investigating whether they were covering up an injury because you have to report all that stuff. But that's it. Regardless, Joe Burrow will not be under center for the rest of the year for this team. T. Higgins is a free agent. Jake Browning is, we don't know what Jake Browning is. He had a pretty good college career at Washington, but wasn't really that impressive in relief duty here. But it's just a bummer too because I know you were too, really excited for that Thursday game, and then Mark Andrews gets hurt immediately, and then you have Lamar limped off, and he came back, and who knows, what that situation is. He was clearly in he was clearly running around with hurt, but they're football players, they're tough dudes. And then Joe Burrow. So just a bummer because this team is kind of hitting their stride, and we included, a lot of people are excited about him, and now who knows?
Yep. Yeah. Now we have to wait to see when. I mean, he'll be back next year, but my question is when. Will he be ready for the season start? I know the reports kind of say he will, but we'll see because there's always potential for setbacks. For Andrews, since we were just talking about that, I hope you guys stop focusing on the tush push and actually pay attention to that style of tackle, because that style of tackle has absolutely been destroying people. Now, to be fair, they are taking away certain tackles from a defender and essentially making it almost impossible for them to tackle people. But there are ways of doing it and putting all your weight down. Like, this is a problem because it's very similar to a horse collar, because that's what you're doing. You're essentially pulling it down and dropping your weight down. So I know they'll probably look at that, and I'm sure that'll probably be banned next season. So, and for good reason, because it looks people just continuously are getting hurt off of that. Yeah. Speaking of hurt, I'm more so talking about Sam's pride. But
dude, that was when it comes to this, I was gone a while ago with this team.
I was gonna say that. I'm sure of it. But it's still just a letdown. And it's really a letdown for football fans in general, because now we all have to suffer together. It was enough for Jets fans to suffer, but we all now have to continue to suffer along with the Jets fans, because we have to watch the Jets in prime time. And it is unbearable. Dude, Black Friday, we get to watch the Jets. Who are they playing again?
Your father's Miami football Dolphins.
Yeah. Okay. So... Yeah,
this happens. I've been saying this for years. Every year, the NFL puts together these great schedules, and then
people
obviously you can't. If Aaron Rodgers was kind of playing the way we thought, if this Jets team was playing the way I hoped they'd be playing, this would be great. All of these primetime games would be great. But every year, this happens to a handful of teams where something happens or they don't quite get to where they need to be. And it's just these island games, these primetime games, these games where there's no other game on, you end up with matchups like last night. Yeah, or, tonight is an excellent Monday Night Football game, maybe one of the better matchups in recent memory. But that doesn't,
I wish there was a way that they could flex out of it, but that wouldn't be fair to the other teams that they flex.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And you're absolutely right. It sucks for the fans. And I know, I know there's a lot of owners that have voted against being able to do that, because if you're buying tickets, and you think you can go, and then all of a sudden it's a night game or whatever it is, it's not fair to those guys and families. But it's also not fair to everyone else that's got to watch it in prime time. But here we are.
And unfortunately, we all have to watch this, which I probably won't watch. I might watch a little bit of it because I made the idiot mistake. I'm calling myself an idiot on here. I made the idiot mistake of this week in fantasy football. I didn't start Tyreek Hill.
Why?
Because last week they had a bye and I forgot to put him back in the lineup. So he's on my bench with 30 points. But
yeah, I sat Saquon in my dynasty league this week.
There's a thing about that though. Okay, so I said that was the case, right? I have him on my bench, but Dak got me 16. Brian Robinson got me 20. Devontae Adams got me 21. Tank Dell got me 28.
Love Tank Dell, man.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Ty in my league. He dropped him, and I picked him up. Somebody also dropped Dalton Kincaid, and I picked him up, which is perfect for me too. So, this is just the time of me picking up. But, yeah, Tyreek Hill sitting on my bench, 30 points. Loved it. Could have been up way more. But anyway, I'm still going to win the match.
That's what's about. Hey, man, it happens.
But
I'm
anyway,
glad I'm not the only one that does stuff like that.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
I'm just glad you put the Jets as getting the L here and not me.
Well, I mean, you did. So you're not getting out of this.
Well, I only did because I wanted. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel. How can I say this? I feel for Zach Wilson in the sense that, yes, he had the opportunities prior to this year to be the starter. We know how he fumbled the bag when it came to that, how he essentially did not own up. And you can see a difference from last year to this year. He learned from his mistakes with that. But this young man also was not supposed to be the starting quarterback. But with that being said, you're always supposed to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? But it doesn't also help when you have a offensive coordinator that's not really, he is game planning, but is not. It also doesn't help when you have an offensive line that has terrible holes in it, which is a part of the reason why Aaron Rodgers is not playing, because you have no O-line. And it was talked about what, Sam? All offseason, all to the preseason. You watched Hard Knocks. Aaron Rodgers literally screaming at his O-line for not being able to protect. And what do you know, Sam? No O-line. So I feel bad for Zach Wilson because in times like if you don't have an O-line, there's not much that you can do, right? Especially if you're going against a solid defense like what they did on Sunday against the Bills, when you have these dominant pass rushers coming at you and you don't really have time to allow your guys to get separation. Also, to be fair, your receivers aren't even getting separation. Garrett Wilson is not getting separation, which is so surprising. I know he has an elbow injury, but that has nothing to do with your feet to get separation. It's sad to see that happen for Zach, but it also, there's a lot of self-infliction as well too.
I think, he does hold the ball a very long time. He does move around to try to make things happen. I'm tired of people trying to convince me that Zach Wilson is good at football. I'm just like, and that was my thought after the game was over yesterday. I didn't watch all of the game, and but my friends all watched it. I was laughing at the text and just how awful it was, and then him getting benched. It was usually I look at like our notes from the year before when it comes up to podcasts, and I knew it was the Thanksgiving week podcast. Happy Thanksgiving all. And I didn't even need to look at this one. This was a year ago today. We were sitting here. It was after Zach, kind of threw everyone else under the bus. And he, that happened and he got benched, and you reference it. He's learned from it. He's grown up. You've seen it in just interviews and the way he conducts himself. And, I think
he was great about the benching. He was today when he was talking about the benching. He was absolutely humble. I respect that, but continue.
So I didn't have time to grab, I wanted to see where he was at, in the last 12 months, like stat wise. He doesn't have a lot of time to throw. I'm not entirely sure that's all a problem. I think drops are a huge problem, but I did find, and I got this from True Media via The Athletic, just like since he came into the league of like qualified quarterbacks, he's pretty out of 36 qualified quarterbacks, he's second or last in all of these stats. Expected points added per dropback, total QB EPA, passer rating, completion percentage, third down conversion percentage. He's lost in all of those except for the first metric. Okay. He had a, you want to take out last 2 years and just concentrate on this year. As you mentioned, he wasn't supposed to be the quarterback of this team, but 4 plays in the season that changed. He's still 32 of 32, or pretty much 30 or 32 in all of those same stats for just this season. EPA per dropback, QB EPA, passer rating, completion percentage, third down completion percentage. He's either 30th or 32nd in all of those. So it's like so that's where I kind of just last night was when I'm putting together my thoughts of what we're going to talk about today. I'm just tired of people or anyone trying to convince Jet fans that he's good. We went through this with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold turns over the ball a lot more than Zach Wilson does. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. But I just don't think Zach Wilson is a NFL quarterback, and that's fine. It is what it is. It's just, and I'm as guilty because at the beginning of the season, I was like, or when he first started to struggle, I'm like, what are we going to do? Like, what can we do? You're going to go find a Carson Wentz or something? I mean, Josh Dobbs is the exception to that. I feel like that. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about him, and he's special on and off the field. And could he have done something a little better? Sure, maybe. But the question is, it becomes diminishing returns. Is Aaron Rodgers going to come back? Are we even going to have a shot?
He's not coming back now. There's no way.
I don't. And I think even if we were 6-4 instead of 4-6, the fact that we can't. And sure, he may be able to audible and call different protections, and he'll clearly get rid of the ball faster. Bless you. But
thank you.
I just don't. I just think the season is what it is at this point, and we'll see. At least Tim Boyle got rid of the ball pretty quickly last week.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, they had several opportunities to essentially salvage the season before Kirk Cousins went down. They could have tried to trade for him, but he has no trade clause, so that would have been hard. He would have had to waive that, and if he wanted to do that, and from something that I didn't realize, and I don't think really you did because we're not Viking fans and we're not in that locker room and you don't follow it like that, but he is loved by the players over there. Literally wearing concert T-shirts like this with Kirk Cousins all over it, by the way.
That's a great shirt, by the way.
Amazing shirt.
That's a great shirt.
Jalen, McNabb, Vic on the back, Randall Cunningham, Rodney Peete,
Jaws on there. You got Jaws on there?
No, it's all the black quarterbacks from the
Eagles. Oh, I can put that thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Ron Jaworski does not qualify.
No, he's not on there. No BD, no BDNs on there, nothing like that. It's a whole other thing. But they had opportunities. We talked about it before about getting Josh Dobbs. They had a chance. They could have tried to get him. Carson Wentz was sitting at home. The Rams went and picked him up, right?
Even Joe Flacco.
Yep. Yeah.
Who's been on this team last 2 years.
Correct. So he actually knows the offense. He could have been here too, right? Well, he doesn't know the offense. That's to be fair because Nathaniel wasn't there last year. But it is sad to see how this has happened because I really love your defense. There's a lot of players on your defense. The Williams brothers, absolutely love. Sauce, my guy. You know what I mean? Was it Mosley? Right?
Jed Mosley, yeah.
Yep. So you guys got some dogs on the defense side, right?
DJ.
And I absolutely love what it is, but that's gonna be wasted. It's absolutely going to be wasted. And it's sad to see it. I really see, and I also see it. I'm telling you right now, they're probably going to have a serious conversation with Robert Saleh in the offseason of whether they're going to keep him or not. I feel he's going to still keep his job, and they're going to give him a fair chance next year with Aaron.
And I think that's a catalyst. If it comes down to Aaron Rodgers, like if Aaron comes back and wants to play for this team, I think you keep Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas.
If he doesn't, then bye, Saleh. You got to go.
Yeah,
you got to go because they also at this point, I would just say let's pack it in and let's try to get a quarterback for the future, regardless.
I think you need to
Rodgers,
do that,
right? Like that's what you should do. But enough. We've talked way too much about your terrible Jets. Let's talk about somebody else that's more terrible that unfortunately shares my name, not the same spelling, but shares my name. Is Brandon Staley. If you were here last week or been here any other time, he seems to be a repeat offender. Yeah, that's right, because he was on there for me last week. So
this is I want to justify too. The same as last week. Your L is not the Chargers. It is Brandon Staley for the second week in a row. Okay, go ahead. I just want to clarify.
It's not the Chargers. They're wasting, again, as I've said, the Jets are wasting their phenomenal defense, he is wasting Justin Herbert. This young man,
a healthy Keenan Allen too.
Well, you know how I feel about Keenan, even though Keenan dropped a huge pass
in the end zone. Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. I mean, it happens. It's not. Yeah. It happens. But after the loss, the post-game interview, Brandon Staley was asked some questions about coaching, and he said, "I have full confidence in our way of playing. I have full confidence in myself as." He's play caller, but he was talking about defensive play caller, as that is what his background is. And in the way that we teach and the way that we scheme. Full confidence in that. We got to bring this group together in the way that we do it consistently. He went on to say, and turned up, he was calm saying that part, but he turned the knob up and he chose violence on this next part. He said, you can stop asking that question, whether he would turn over the play calling duties, which is what it was. He said, I'm going to call the defenses, so we're clear. So you don't have to ask that again. He was extremely firm and direct with the reporter. So my number one gripe in this situation is the reporter is doing their job. And your background is defense. And to be fair, Sam, he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and they had one really good season with a stacked defense. And outside of that, tell me what else his defenses have done, Sam. I'll wait.
I can tell you.
Go ahead. Tell me, please.
He's been the head coach of the Chargers for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. This is his third year.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they rank in points allowed. Those 3 years, 29th, 21st, 24th.
Okay.
5 of the Chargers' last 6 losses this year have come by a field goal or less.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense, it costs $97 million against the cap.
So you all heard that. Now, Sam, because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'll tell you, prior to the Rams job, prior to getting this Charger job, his career doesn't stand out at all. He had one great season with the Rams.
It's that joke, like he's friends with Sean McVay. It's like the whole, like he knows Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. Like, that's how Cliff Kingsbury got hired, Zach Taylor. Although I have turned around on Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor he's a good coach.
At first, it was like, what are you doing? You were the QB coach for the Rams, and all of a sudden you're the head coach. It worked out. I like Zach Taylor. Anyway, but yeah, I'm friends with Sean McVay. So
it's just mind blowing to me that he should have been fired last year. And you know how I feel, Sam. I've said it to you offline before. I hate calling for people's jobs because that's their livelihood and whatnot. But if you're not good at your job, you're not good at your job. And guess what? I've said it to you. I've also said this to you before, Sam, that some people aren't meant to be head coaches. And that's no disrespect to them. They can be really great coordinators. Be that. Be great at what you are. I understand you want to aspire for more, and I'm not the person to ever tell anybody to not aspire for more.
Oh, yeah,
but sometimes it's too much for you, right? This could be a learning lesson for him. He can come back a couple of years, learn what he did wrong, and maybe get a head coaching job later on, because that seems to be how it works. I have comments on that. I'll save it for another day. But I really think that let's see what he's like as a defensive coordinator, right? Because at this point, I'll use a comparison,
but we are seeing what he's like as a defensive coordinator. He's still calling the plays.
Well, he said he's taking over the defensive plays, so this sounds like he wasn't calling the defensive plays.
Oh, he hasn't been?
Apparently not from that comment. He said he would be.
I misunderstood.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to make a comparison. Bieniemy. He was up for head coaching jobs, right? Didn't get it. Everybody was saying it was Andy. Now he goes to the Commanders, and the Commanders' offense, they do put up numbers at times, but then other times the offense does nothing, right? So it's just like, are you what have you done for me lately? It's always that in the NFL. It's show me what you're doing right now to get to that point. You and I also agree that he should have got a real chance before, but that's that.
I've turned around on Bieniemy in Washington. I mean, you look at what Sam Howell's doing, and as a prospect, I mean, at one point he was the top QB. He was the top QB prospect in that draft year. It didn't work out, and I think he was like a 4th or 5th round pick. But he's right up there in passing yards, and
yes, he is.
And a lot of the things the Chiefs have done well over the years are the Washington's getting the tight ends involved. Obviously, you have 2 really good wideouts on the outside there, and Dotson and Scary Terry there.
I blame Ron. Ron.
Well, I mean, you can't lose. Another. I was going to have another L be the Commanders, because not only you can't lose to the Giants and Tommy DeVito, your hot showers don't even work.
It ain't the Commanders, it's Ron. Well, yeah, that's fair, because the hot shower part, yeah, that's fair. But I'd mostly put it on Ron too. Just
he's. I mean, at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the year, if you told me that coaches were going to get fired, or if there were odds, those two were the front runners,
and they 100% are going to be it. I'm surprised that they haven't gotten fired now at this point in time. If I'm that new ownership with the Commanders, and I see that you lost to the Giants, like in my head, I would have went, if we lose this game to the Giants, who are down to their 3rd string quarterback, we lose this game to them with our head coach, our starting guys, you're gone after this game. And I would immediately sat Ron down after the game and said, don't worry about it. They were in Washington, right? Yeah, they were in Washington. Yeah. I said, Ron, this will be your last drive here to the stadium. This will be your last drive. And I would have said that to the Chargers. I would have said that to Brandon Staley. I would have said, hey, listen, we appreciate you for your service. Your services are no longer needed.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, you're right. I think from the Washington standpoint, new ownership, it doesn't help when you have a minority owner like Magic Johnson just ripping you passive aggressively on tweets. That's what I mean. Ron Rivera, great, seems like a great guy. I mean, he overcame cancer and he coached, and that's awesome. But he's been there a while. And it's time to win. And he went into the season with a 5th round quarterback, and who's the backup? Is it Tyrod Taylor? No, Brissett. Like that, you're going into a year where you need to win with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. So it's like, okay, well, that's, it is what it is. I don't remember if Bieniemy was signed with the new ownership. I would assume he was, but I'm sure if Ron gets canned, and again, I hate even talking about coaches getting fired, but I'm sure Bieniemy will be the interim coach and have the best shot to take over this team next year for sure.
Well said. We're done with this, just like the Chargers should be done with Staley.
Can I say something really interesting?
God. What?
No, this is about the Chargers. It's bashing Brandon Staley. You'll like it. So I guess because we were talking about this press conference before during the day, and I hadn't seen it. So I guess a reporter suggested that every opponent the Chargers play have their best day on offense when they play the Chargers, and it's almost true. I mean, Jordan Love dropped 300 yards. The Kansas City Chiefs and Detroit Lions had the best efficiency day of their season against the Chargers. Dolphins and Packers, I just mentioned Packers, were second. The Titans had their 3rd best game, and the Bears, Raiders, and Jets didn't, but they all have backup quarterbacks that aren't very good. And the Cowboys are in there because they've had so many good games against bad teams anyway that it only ranks 7th. So that's pretty much true. Every team that they have played, they've had their best game against that defense. Writing's on the wall, man. If the Spanos family does not relieve him of his duties, then you really got to question what's going on in LA.
Well, good luck to, or I'll have fun to the teams that are playing them for the rest of the year. Let's get to the power rankings. My power rankings literally did not change at all this week. Not one bit.
You forgot to do it, or?
No, I did it.
I'm kidding. I know, I'm kidding.
It is literally the same for those that weren't listening last week. It is the Ravens at 5, the Niners at 4, the Lions at 3, the Chiefs at 2, and the Eagles at 1. Obviously, this is before the Monday night game. We don't know how that's going to pan out. In my heart of hearts, I've played it out a million times, and I hope it turns out the way that I want it to. But we'll see. Anything's possible, and it's Andy Reid coming off of a bye, which is almost impossible to beat. And then also the Eagles have never beat Andy Reid since leaving Philadelphia. And Patrick Mahomes is also pretty much unstoppable on primetime TV. So the Eagles have 3 things against them. So it's not looking great. But you know what? That's why you play the game. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, rankings have not changed. Kind of just is what it is. Sam, what is the record for after last week?
I need Travis Kelce to go off tonight to win in my Dynasty League, and Taylor Swift isn't going to be at the game, so I'm a little worried.
Should be.
But hey, we both went 9-4 because you remember last week we had the same exact picks, and then I'm going to be candid here. I didn't post the stuff on Sunday because something came up, so I gave the Instagram listeners credit for our picks.
Wow, you're generous.
So we all went 9-4.
Oh, okay.
But here's the asterisk with our 4 losses, Brandon. Denver won by 1. The Rams beat the Seahawks by 1. Green Bay won by 3. We both had Washington winning, and they got beat by the Giants. But, you know, that's a pretty good 9-4 when you look at it. Like, a couple.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
So for the year, you have 104 and 66. I'm 2 games behind, 102, 68, and our friends at Instagram, 94 wins.
Love that. All right, let's get into week 12 picks. No buys this week. Thanksgiving days games, we got 3 of them.
Finally, a good Lions game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like the Lions are good on Thanksgiving.
I'm happy about that. So I'm sure they should come away with this win. But first game is at 12:30. The Packers at Lions. We both have Lions. Next game at 4:30 p.m. on CBS. The first game was at Fox, by the way. It is the Commanders at Cowboys. You have the Cowboys. I have the Commanders. Why do you have the Cowboys?
I just think the Cowboys are a better team. Again, I just spoke pretty highly of the Commanders' offense, but they're, I just don't think they're as good of a team. Cowboys at home. Don't get me wrong. I could see the Commanders winning this game. I just think the Cowboys are a better team.
I'll make it short and sweet. The Commanders, it's a rivalry game, and they play the Cowboys tough all the time. So that is the only reason, but I definitely can see the Cowboys winning.
Yeah. My rule. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
My rule of thumb with division games is, if you look at them and you look to go 1-1, just because.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay.
It's ADD, man. I just saw it, and I just had to.
You
had to go.
I get it. Okay, shut up now, Sam. 8:20. Niners at Seahawks. You have the Niners. I have the Seahawks. Why do you have the Niners?
Well, Niners look like the Niners again, which is great. I know playing in Seattle is a hard thing to do. It sounds like Geno will be healthy to play on Thursday night, but who knows? So the 49ers defense against Drew Lock, not that Geno is like a game breaker, but like still, I just think Niners are a better team. So.
Okay, well, I have the Niners. If Geno is playing, I have the Niners winning. If not, then the Seahawks winning. But if not, then the Niners will win if Geno's not playing. Black Friday game, we've talked about this earlier. Wish we weren't talking about this at all. It's at 3 p.m. The Dolphins at Jets. We both have the Dolphins. And then here we go for our Sunday games, the early afternoon games. We have Saints at Falcons. Sam has the Saints. I have the Falcons. The reason I have the Falcons is I think they could just win this game. It's another division game. Anything's possible in these games, and Lord knows what's going to happen with Jameis or not. Why do you have the Saints? Quick.
If Derek Carr's healthy, I just think the Saints are a better team, and who the hell knows if Arthur Smith's going to use that talented roster that he actually has. So
fair. Buccaneers at Colts. We both have Colts. Patriots at Giants. You have the Patriots. I have the Giants. This is a very interesting one. I have the Giants because I just don't trust the Patriots at all and everything that's going on there. And I just feel like it is what it is, and they both suck anyway. Why do you have the Patriots?
They both stink. I don't know. It's not like I can even rely on like saying Bill is the better coach, because clearly, I mean, he is. I know he spent a lot of time in this Giants organization. He's just maybe a little more fueled up to win this game. I have no idea.
Okay, I'm going to try to get Sam to go quicker. Panthers at Titans. Sunday late games. Rams at Cardinals. We both have Cards. Browns at Broncos. We both have Broncos. Chiefs at Raiders. We both have Chiefs.
You have the Browns. I have the Broncos.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Why do you have the Broncos? Quick.
I mean, we talked about it at the top. I just think I think this offense is better than the Browns offense. And if both of these defenses are playing like they have, I think that would be the difference. That said, I mean, Browns have won their last 2 games by late field goals there. Anything can happen, especially with this Denver team. So I'll go with the Broncos here at home.
That was a long explanation. Thank you, Sam. I have the Browns because I just trust the defense, and I think they're going to ruffle Russell's feathers. So we'll see how that goes. Chiefs at Raiders. We both have Chiefs. Bills at Eagles. We both have the Eagles, even though I think that's going to be a tough game. Sunday Night Football. We both have the Ravens beating the Chargers at the Chargers because Brandon Staley. And Monday Night Football, the Bears at Vikings. The Bears suck, so we both have the Vikings. So we'll see how that goes. With that said, I'm going to sit back and relax on this one because Sam has got some awards that have come out for the MLB.
Wow, this is like UFC corner, but for me.
It is.
Where it's I go on mute and stop listening to. Hey, the awards came out last week. We didn't get to talk about it before, like give our picks or whatever, but we did pick at the beginning of the year. So if that counts for anything, I think we both had Ohtani winning MVP. He did. NL MVP, we both had Acuna. I don't recall who I picked, but he's good at baseball, so that makes sense. Hey, it happened. Gerrit Cole won a Cy Young. Congrats to the ace of New York Yankees. Blake Snell, who someone in one of my baseball leagues dropped in the middle of the year, won the Cy Young for the Padres. He's a free agent, so that'd be interesting. Gunnar Henderson, Rookie of the Year, the AL. My NL pick, Corbin Carroll, ran away with that one. Brandon Hyde of the Orioles, and Skip Schumacher, former player, first-year manager, won Manager of the Year for the Marlins. And here's a really cool one, the Roberto Clemente Award to our very own Aaron Judge. So kudos there. That was it. That's awards. Hey, and the Hall of Fame ballot was announced. The results are live at the end of January. Ceremony, of course, in Cooperstown on the 21st. I think the most notable name here is Adrian Beltre. Then you have Chase Utley, Joe Mauer, David Wright. I think Utley and Mauer will be interesting, but Beltre, if he doesn't make it in immediately, it'll be next year. And, the rest of the ballot, guys from the past have been creeping up. It looks like you need 75% votes to get into the Hall of Fame. Todd Helton was about 72% last year. I don't necessarily think Todd Helton's a Hall of Famer, but hey, there you go. Billy Wagner is in his 9th year. You only get 10 to stay on the ballot at least. He was at 68%. And Andrew Jones in his 7th year had 58%. Both of those last two jumped 17 points from the previous year. So there's some momentum there, and it probably speaks to the lack of elite talent on the ballot. So you got to vote for someone in a way. So I wouldn't be surprised if those guys got in soon.
But yeah, I say it's crazy to see that Andrew Jones is still not in there, and this is his 7th year. Because that man was absolutely raking during his time and was a big part of the Braves' success in that early time in the early 90s and whatnot.
Yeah, wasn't he playing in the 96 World Series? Wasn't he like 19, 20 years old?
Yep.
Yep.
And Chipper. Who else was on the team? Smoltz.
Yeah,
I mean, you keep going.
Smoltz, Maddox, and Glavine.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy
rotation, by the way. Yeah, that's very, very interesting to see. I mean, I'd like to see Todd as well go there, but also from the first timers ballot, I want to see the Fat Toad get in. That is Bartolo Colon, for those that don't know.
I thought George Steinbrenner named Hideki Arabu Fat Toad.
Well, they've named, the people have named him Fat Toad, so I'll go with the people because I'm a man of the people. It'd be interesting to see how long it takes Jose Reyes to get in, if he gets in.
Big sexy Bartolo Colon.
Yes, Sam. Goodness gracious.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Chase Utley. I could see probably taking maybe a couple of years. Same with Joe. I don't think it's going to be too long, but yeah, I'm curious to see how long it's going to take Jose Reyes to get in, if he does.
I don't think he's going
to. That's why I said if he does. I don't. Same with Jose Bautista. I don't see him either.
Yeah.
But
the full list of first timers here: David Wright, Bartolo Colon, Matt Holliday, Adrian Gonzalez, Reyes, as you mentioned, Joey Bats, Jose Bautista, Victor Martinez, Jamie Shields, and Brendan Phillips.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, Sam, I'm just reading this list, and this is the last thing I'll have to say about this. Is just reading this list is just. This is our childhood.
Yeah.
This is literally our childhood. We watch these people, and these people are eligible for the Hall of Fame. So that says that we are old. So yeah, love that feeling. Great.
I remember being in high school buying Joe Mauer rookie cards when he came out. I think my cousin who lives in Minnesota, like her roommate was dating Joe Mauer. I don't know if they got married or not. Like, I don't know what I don't remember. Anyway, you feel old as hell. It's like, wow. And then to think the first two picks in the draft 2 years ago, 1-2 were Andrew Jones's kid and Matt Holliday's kid, and Jackson Holliday is runaway best prospect in baseball right now. So it's just like you feel like super old. Yeah,
I love it. I'm glad that we're around, and we're grateful enough, or fortunate enough to see the parents, and then now see the children who watch them play. And so we got to endure that, and we can still watch them as they grow through their career. Lord willing, we'll be able to see all of their careers too, if they blossom into something really, really well. With that said, Sam, is there anything that you are looking forward to before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the time with your friends and family. Stay safe, and definitely, just take in my Brandon last moments of the podcast, just take a minute and look around and just take in what you have. And you may not be where you think you want to be, or things may not have the outcome you want, but just you got 2 feet on the ground, and you got up this morning, and that's a blessing. So just be, I'm thankful for that, and having a family and getting to do all the silly holiday things with them. They're at the age where it's just, I mean, it's always going to be fun, but it's fun. So I'm just thankful for that, and get to watch some good football games and have good friends like my co-host here, Brandon.
Don't put me in that bracket. You don't even hang out with me.
I talk to you more than most people in my life.
I know you do. I talk to you.
You're one of my closest friends.
Yeah, I agree. You suck. I love you. I
love you too.
You know the words that I say are obviously all love, because
of course,
you don't even see the jokes that we have and stuff we talk about in our text. So that's that. A lot of it should not be talked about anywhere else anyway. But also your moment that you just shared, it made me proud, because it sounded a lot like things that I say, and I don't say that as me taking compliment for it. I'm saying it just it's another reason. It lets me know that we think and have similar wavelengths on certain things, and it's always about, at least for me around this time, I think about those that don't have.
Yeah.
Right. And I just remember having a conversation with a friend, and I've talked about it with Dame a couple of times, a friend from high school. And I just remember when we were kids, and him saying, he was like, "What do you think you're better than me because you have both of your parents?" And like for me, it never dawned on me in that aspect of thinking like how deeply somebody thinks that way, even though some of my cousins didn't have their fathers around or whatnot. And it's, you never know how hard other people are having it, and some people will project on you and it's not you. So I challenge you, not only for this time of the year but going forward and for the rest of your life, is when somebody is projecting on you and it's kind of coming out of nowhere, take a step back and try to think where they're coming from, because most of the times when they are projecting like that towards you, it's they're going through something and this is their way of letting out those demons or that energy that they have in them. Just take a second and tell them that, hey, I love you. It could be a stranger that just came in. You could be working at retail. And for those that work at retail, I'm praying for you because I know what this time of year is, and I've been there so many times. So I'm definitely speaking to you, but I'm speaking in general. But just take that moment and just tell, hey, listen, you okay? You know, everything's all right. Like you want to talk, like all seriousness, like you okay? Like we can have that conversation. You'd be surprised what people will do in a moment like that when you actually take a second to humanize them and don't just look at them as something else. So I definitely challenge you guys to do that, for sure. That's enough for me saying all of that. So Sam, take us on home.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. And we are certainly thankful for you. We're closing in on 3 years of this beautiful project. And, we truly enjoy doing this all the time. So episode 116 in the books. Thank you. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, your mailman, whatever. Just tell people. It helps. And we look forward to what's next. So until next time, peace.
Listen, as we just talked about, it's the holiday season. Wash your damn hands. And if you aren't feeling well, stay home and stay away from people. This is germ season. I'm not trying to miss out on my mama's food. I'm also not trying to miss out time with my friends and family, excluding Sam because he doesn't want to hang out with me. But I will tell you all this. Just wash your damn hands. Be clean. It's not that hard. Wash them. Hand sanitizer at Dollar Tree for $1. Go ahead and get that. I'm not
20
promoting them.
seconds.
Just get
20
it.
seconds.
Just
wash your hands.
You nasty, dirty piece of. All right, bye.